Hello everyone, this is Razor Game Dev, and welcome back to the next episode on Let's Make a Platformer in love2d. So, I just got back from break, and yeah, I just wanted to take some time to spend with my family, and also get back on schedule with school and work and all these other things. But now I'm back, and we're gonna kick it off. So, first thing I'm gonna do, well, in this episode, what we're gonna be working on is animation, and creating an animation handler that can handle really awesome animations. So yeah, it'll be a pretty big episode. First thing I'm going to do is just remove the zombie from the map right now. At least for now, just until where... Oh, I think we're just doing it. Yeah, we are just doing everything in the main. Anyway, let's launch so you can see where we're at. It's been a little while. So here we are. This is the player. We can jump around. We have kind of clunky physics, kind of clunky and everything. You can see that it's a little bit jittery and stuff at times, and it falls to the world. Part of that is is because I'm recording. Another part is the delta time. So real quick, we're going to try something. We're going to do delta time. We're going to make a table called delta time, and we're going to make a couple local functions. Local pop and push is equal to function, or is equal to table dot insert, and then table dot remove. Actually, remove. Then insert down here. We just do that because looking up at the global table is a little bit more expensive. Okay, so what we want to do is we're going to push delta time. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be averaging the delta time, like that. So if number of, here let's do av delta, let's do av dt. I'm gonna make this equal to 0.016, because that's whenever I print delta time, that's around what I get. So if number of delta time is greater than, we're gonna make a sample how many we want to average. Local sample, and we're gonna sample around 10 for now, and then we can, the more we increase, the smoother it would be. So delta time is greater than sample, then we want to say av dt is equal to, well, actually, how am I going to do this? Okay, we're going to say for I is equal to 1 comma number of delta time do, and we want to say local, or we're going to, yeah, no, up here we're going to say local av is equal to 0, av is equal to av plus delta time I. Then we're going to say average delta time is equal to av divided by delta time, number of delta time. So what did we just do? So every single frame we, well, actually, and then right here we want to, actually let's do this backwards, and I'll explain how this works. We do it backwards because we also want to pop delta time, pop the delta time at I. Okay, so what we're doing here is okay, so what we're doing here, average delta time is the average of 10 delta time samples. So every single frame we push the delta time into the delta time table. If the delta time table is greater than the sample rate, then what we do is we average every single value in that table. So we loop through all the values in delta time, we add it all up, and then we remove the value, and then the average delta time is equal to the average, the total of the delta times divided by how many delta times, how many is in the table. And then we use av dt instead of delta time, and that should smooth things over a little bit or completely break everything. Okay, so, oh man, we're like literally crashing. Shoot. Okay, I think we must have had a stack overflow. Ooh. Okay, so let me print. You guys are gonna see some debugging real time. Let me print this and see what happens. Infinity. Okay, that's not good. Okay, so let's close the program. No. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's see. If AV is equal to, we might be dividing by 0, then AV is equal to 1. And let's try that. Nope. Nope. Still not working. Close that up. Let's think. AV is equal to 0. Let me print AV then. I don't know why it says infinite right there. Let's see. That looks about right. Okay. Oh shoot. Yep. I know what it is. So because we popped all the values right here, this is actually equal to 0. So we're dividing by 0, and you don't want to divide by 0. So local num is equal to number of delta times. So let's grab the number right there, right? Before we pop it, all the values, and then we put number in here. So now if we run, it's a lot smoother. So yeah, there we go. So now it's very smooth. Now let's get on to the meat of this episode, and let's start working on animation. So how we're going to do this is we're basically up here, we're going to create an animation. We're going to push in the table with all the frames that we want. And then we're going to say we want to play animation 1, animation 2, animation 3. You know, one could be idle, one could be attack animation, one could be a walk animation, and all of that. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to lay out all the frames that we have. Later we're going to make a module that'll actually do this for us. But for now, we're going to do it by hand. So we're going to create a local reference to game.graphics or love.graphics.quad. Then we're going to create a table filled with all our animation data. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, I created this really derpy little player right here. It's hard to see, but I'll show you in detail when we actually launch the game. But it's just a 3-frame animation with a really stupid walk cycle. It took me a couple minutes to make, and it looks kind of dumb, but whatever. So we're going to animation data is equal to a table. In here, we're going to create a table of quads. So in here, every single frame is 8 pixels wide, 60 pixels tall, with a 1 pixel buffer. And we do the 1 pixel buffer because OpenGL likes to oversample. So 8, 16. So the first frame is at 0, 0. It's 8 pixels wide, 16 pixels high, and it's 128 pixels wide, long. Oh yeah, wide I guess. And then 16 pixels high. So I'm just going to copy this a couple times, because the rest of the data is fine. Then it's 9 pixels over and 18. There we go, because there's a 1 pixel buffer. So that should be all our animation frames. So now let's create the image. Let's say local image is equal to love.graphics.new image. And it's located in assets, images, and then it's player sheet.png. We also want to do nearest neighbor sampling. So what that means is how OpenGL or SDL or whatever Love uses, it uses both, but whatever the image is using, it always filters it, so when you look at it really close, it filters small images to be blurry. Not blurry, but it looks great on larger images, so it just basically kind of blurs it just slightly so that it makes it less like sharp and, you know, jaggedy and all that. But for pixel art, that's what we want. We want jaggedy and stuff. So we're going to make it nearest neighbor filtering. So what we're going to say is image.set filter. So if you ever see your pixel art really crappy looking, instead of upscaling, just use nearest neighbor filtering right there. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to create a module here. And I'm actually doing this one different than a lot of the others. So how we're going to lay out our animation, you know, our table that we're going to pass into this animation thing. We're going to do it like this. We're going to say A is equal to table, right? Inside here, we're going to have different animations with frames. So here would be a walk animation, just like that. And then here would be an idle animation, right? Then we can also have attacking or whatever. In here is where we store our quads, just like this. So we send a table like this into this module. So let's return the table. So let's create a little function called new. Let's pass in self, because I'm doing it this style instead of how I usually do it. And then in here I'm going to say, how am I going to do this? I'm going to say image, so we pass in the image that we want to render, and then the animation table, this one right here. And then we're just going to end right there. Make sure you add that, well, I guess you don't really have to with this one, but up here you do. Anyway, so inside here we're going to just return a table again. So when we call this new function, it returns a module, an animation table. So we're going to create some variables. So we're going to say current frame is equal to 1. Always put it at 1. Every other language on the planet practically indexes their arrays and stuff from index 0. That's where the start of the array. But in Corona, or not Corona, but not love2d, but Lua, it always starts at 1, which is really frustrating and confusing, but that's how they want to do it, so that's how we have to do it. Let's go image, just create a local reference to image, and then animation. I'm just going to name it A, just for simplicity's sake. Okay. We also want a play function, which is a boolean, so we're going to say false. You always want to start it at false, so it's not playing when we start the game. Time, this is how long we want the animation, or how long we want before each frame. Let's create a time up here. Cycles. So up here we're going to say is equal to time, or if we forget to put it in, 1. No, let's do 0.2. I think that's a better number. Next we're going to say counter. So this is a timer. We'll make a timer module later, but for now we're just going to say counter is equal to 0. Alright, now we can actually get into this. So, to start things off, I'm going to create an update function. Pass in self, and then delta time. Okay. Next, we're going to create a play function. Play and stop function. Play function self, and we're just gonna, this one's gonna be really simple. We're just gonna say self.play is equal to true, then stop is equal to a function self, and we're just gonna say self.play is equal to false. There we go. Next we're gonna say set animation. We're gonna say self and then anim. This needs to be equal to a function. There we go. So in here we're going to say self.current animation is equal to animation. We're also going to say if, well, if anim is greater than a, then error. Just doing a little error checking, and there just write a message is no animation. Then we're gonna do concatenate and animation right there, then end. So that's just gonna say if the animation that we pass in is if it's greater than a, which is the amount of animations that we put in, then return there's no animation. Actually, it's return. There we go. Okay, so that just sets the current animation, and then next we want a draw function. Draw is equal to function. There we go. Self, and then we also want to pass in data. And data is just our draw, like coordinates and rotation and all that stuff. All right. So in the draw function, let's get started here. Let's create a local reference to game.graphics or love.graphics. So we're just going to say gfx is equal to love.graphics. And I do this again because it's a little bit faster. You really don't notice it, but it's also a little bit cleaner when you want to type it out. So we're going to say gfx.draw. We want to say self.image. Next is the quad. The quad is going to be self.a, current animation, then current frame. Next, we're going to say data 0 because this is going to be the x coordinate, and data 1. Or actually, like I said, start index is at 1, so we'll do it like that. And later we'll add rotation and X scale and all that, but for now we're just going to keep it really simple for this video. Alright, and you guys can add that in yourself too if you want. It's really simple. You guys remember in the draw function, the next one is rotation, next is X scale, Y scale, and then some other clipping stuff, and yeah. Anyway, so the update's gonna be the big one. So if self.play, if we're playing the animation, then do this, else do nothing, basically. We might do something in there, I don't know. Self.counter, so let's increase the counter. It's equal to self.counter plus delta time. Next we're going to say if self.counter is greater than or equal to self.time, then reset the counter. And this is a really easy way to just do a timer. Then we also want to increase the current frame. Self.current frame is equal to self.current frame plus 1. Right here we want to make sure we loop the animation. We might add a looping feature later that says we don't want to loop it, just play it once, but for now we want to continuously loop. So to do that we're going to say if self.current frame is greater than number of self.a self.current animation. So if it's greater than the frames in the current animation, then reset it. Self.current frame is equal to 0. Or is actually equal to 1, because remember the table starts at 1. Whoops. There we go. So 1. Let me think. I think that's everything right here. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, so let's run player 14, attempt to call local quad. Let's see, why is this an error? Love.graphics.quad. Oh, .new quad. There we go. Okay, so our game still runs. You're not going to see the animation because we haven't created it yet. So let's actually create this animation. So in the player.load function, we're going to say self.animation is equal to require. Let's require the animation module. What am I doing? I'm trying to read and and type at the same time. Tools, animation, then I'm going to say new. And here we're going to pass in, if you remember, first thing to pass in is the image. Let me check. Image, animation, time. Okay, so the animation right here, we're going to pass in a table. So how we're going to do this is right here, this is going to be the idle animation, remember, and then I also want to put a comma there. This will be the walk animation. We're just going to have 2 of them for now. Here we're going to say anim data 1, that's the animation. That's the idle animation. Next, down here, let's go up here. And remember, we'll automate this later. It's a little bit tedious, but because once we have like a really long animation, you know, we don't really want to do this. So what this is going to be is going to be a cycle. So animation data 3, and then pass in animation data 2 again. So it just loops like that. And for the time, we're going to see 0.2, not 0.22. All right. So let's set the animation. Actually, let's not set the animation. Let's say self.animation play. Just get this thing rolling. So if we run, let's see, 46. Unexpected. Oh, don't add the comma there. You can't have trailing commas when you have a function call. So everything's normal. We have no errors. That's good. Let's draw this animation. So instead of this rectangle, instead we're going to be drawing the animation. So we're going to say self.animation draw. What did we put in here? It's just data, right? Yeah, data. Okay, so in here we're going to put in our player coordinates. So self.position.x self. And make sure you put it in a table because we pass in a table. There we go. So that should draw it. If we run, oh no, 50. Let me think. Self the current and here. When you say self, there we go. I always do that. I always forget this off. And we have this dorky little player right here. There we go. So yeah. Oh, by the way, I can't remember if I did in this video or not, but I removed the zombie from the scene just because whenever he falls off the edge, he crashes the game. And we'll fix that later. But yeah. Anyway, we got the player, and yeah. So let's animate him. So at the very top of our player update function, we're going to say self.animation set animation. We're going to set it to 1. So that's just the idle. Now if we click left or right, or if the key's down, then we're going to set it to 2. If it's right, set it to 2. And let's check if that works. Animation 45. Self.a. There we go. Prepare table. Number of self.a. So let's Instead we'll just make a remove key. For now, it doesn't go to the idle. Or we could say else. No. Anyway, let's just do this. Anyway, so if we that's not looping. 1, 2, 3. Let's try this instead. Whoop. Whoop. Instead of doing it right there, we'll do it right here. Oh, why isn't this working? Well, we got the first frame to render. We're not updating it. Oh, duh. Got it. We need to call the update function on the animation, which we haven't done. So right at the very bottom, let's say self.animation update, pass in delta time, run. So now we're running, kind of doing the moonwalk when we rock backwards, but you can see it's animating. And once we have a lot better animation, and whenever we let go, it's a idle animation, which it's not really an animation, but we'll work on that later. We'll work on actually, polishing the game, making it look cool, and adding bad guys and all that stuff. Towards the end part, you always work on the engine and make it solid and good before you work on features and before you work on animations and stuff, or else you have to change a bunch of stuff. You have to change how you do it because you might change some things in the code. Anyway, that's our episode today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. There will be the link to the source code in the description, so you guys can download it. I haven't got my GitHub thing set up yet, so I don't think it's on GitHub yet. It might be, but for now, look in the description. There should be a download link for this game. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.